Hey guys, I'm Abil back again with another video. This time let's check on the cameras of this Redmi K50i. Okay, in this video we'll be checking on the cameras and we'll see that how good are they. And to get a better idea, what I'm going to do, I'll be comparing the camera samples of this K50i with this almost more than 2 years old Pixel 4a. Yeah, because we'll see that whether this latest device with triple camera setup on the back can outperform this device with just one camera on the back that is also of just 12.2 megapixel. That would be really interesting. So if you are also interested to see this, then do continue watching this video. But before that, if you're new to my channel, then do hit the subscribe button to watch more videos. And if you've already subscribed, a big thank you to all of you guys. So let's get started. So first of all, let's start with the specs. It comes with triple camera setup on the back, 64 megapixel primary sensor with aperture 1.8, then 8 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel very important macro sensor if you're using it. Then we have this front selfie shooter of 16 megapixel, and if you check the UI, the camera UI is quite similar to other Xiaomi phones. You get these options: watermark, long exposure, blog, then 64 megapixel dedicated option is there. Night mode is also there, and it works with both front and the rear camera, so that's good actually. Now you have this dedicated document option as well. Now if you check the shutter speed, it is good to see that even in this portrait mode, the shutter speed is okay, not that fast, but it is actually not that slow as well, which I have found in many other devices. In photos, normal photo mode, it is actually really good. Now let's start with some samples. Particularly, first of all, let's start with the video samples to see that whether it can outperform this Pixel 4a. Okay, so let's get started. Here is a sample from the Redmi K50i front camera. It can record up to 1080p 60 fps videos. Now on the screen, the stabilization is actually looking good, though the dynamic range is okay, I would say, not bad. Yeah, let me walk faster now to check the stabilization. I'm not using any gimbal or any external mic, so you can check the sound capture as well as the the stabilization. The stabilization actually is looking good, and the dynamic range, let me show you this. You can see that it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. So let's walk faster to check the stabilization again. Okay, the colors, you can see that the dynamic range is okay, not bad. Okay, now let's switch to Pixel 4a. Now this is from the Pixel 4a. Here you don't get the option of switching between 60 fps or 30 fps. I believe it is 30 fps. Now you can see that you get a kind of cropped view here. The stabilization is okay, but to be honest, the HDR, the dynamic range, I think it was better on this Xiaomi K50i. Now I'm walking faster, and you can see that it is actually okay, not bad. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, but yes, the complexion, the skin tone is actually really close to natural if you compare it with the Redmi K50i, which was a bit I would say artificial. But you can see that the dynamic range was better on this K50i. Okay, so you can see this. Yep, even let me know what about the sound capture. Yep. Now let's check on the rear samples. Now here is a quick video sample from the rear camera of this Xiaomi K50i. It can record up to 4K 30 fps video, but to check the stabilization, I have kept it at 1080p 60 fps. Okay, you can see that the dynamic range, the colors, they are all looking good. Yeah, you can see that. Now let's check on the focus here. Yeah. Yes, the focus is good. It is not the sharpest, but yes, it is okay, I would say. You can see that. Yeah, it takes a second, I would say, and you have to actually tap. Yeah, so if you tap it, it focuses really quick. But yes, autofocus is not that quick here. Okay, now let's walk faster to check the stabilization. Yeah, so you have to tap to quick focus, autofocus. Yeah, and I'm walking faster now, and you can check the stabilization as well as the sound capture. Now the dynamic range, you can see that it is actually good, not bad. Yeah, again. Yes, the autofocus is not that good. Yeah, you have to actually tap. Yeah, so if you tap it, then it focuses well. So you have to actually tap manually. Okay, now let's check on the Pixel 4a. Now this is Pixel 4a. It can also record up to 4K videos, but to do a fair comparison, I have kept it at 1080p 60 fps. Now you can see that the shiftings, it is a bit jerky, yeah, here. Now let's walk faster, and first of all let's check the focus. You can see that the focus is far better here. Yeah, you don't have to tap manually. You can see that the focus is far better than the this K50i. So yes, the focus is really good on this one. Yeah, now let's check the dynamic range here. You can see that it is okay, but to some extent I can say that the video on that K51i actually was a bit better stabilized. Yeah, now let's walk faster. You can check the dynamic range here, and the colors were a bit vibrant. Yeah, more vibrant, I would say. Again, you can see that the focus is actually, there is no competition. K50i was struggling a lot when it comes to autofocus, quick focus. You can see that it is really far better. Okay, yeah, you let me know what you think about it. Yeah, so I think that the focus was really poor on that K50i. So now let's start with the still images. Now first of all, let's see the difference when you compare a 64 megapixel image with a 12.2 megapixel. This Redmi K50i comes with a dedicated 64 megapixel mode. Now if you see these two photos, you will observe that there is no significant difference. But yes, to some extent, the photo from K50i, its eye, has better details. Yeah, and the contrast ratio is looking better. Plus, the colors, the distinct colors are well reproduced. Yeah, but it is not a significant difference. So it proves that image processing is really important. It is not just the the megapixels, according to me. The 16 megapixel selfie shooter can capture good looking images. If you see here, the image from K50i has better sharpness and details are well produced here. To some extent, the Pixel 4a image is actually looking a bit smoother than the this Pixel 4a with less details. But although I can say that the overall color reproduction is actually better in the photos from Pixel 4a, but it is a bit weird that I have observed that the Pixel 4a by default focuses other areas, not the face. Yeah, but this K50i by default focuses on face, so your the selfie, it is going to look better. Here again you can see that the dynamic range is better in Pixel 4a, but overall image quality is better in in the photo from K50i. Okay, so if you like to take selfies, then I think that K50i is not that bad. It is also not that good, but here if you compare it with this 8 megapixel Pixel 4a, then obviously it is better. Yeah, it is doing the job well. When it comes to taking portrait shots with the front camera, the 16 megapixel selfie shooter in K50i is actually doing a good job. You can see that it can capture good amount of details. The depth effect is also looking good. The edge detection is also good. If you compare it with the Pixel 4a, you can see that Pixel 4a is struggling in capturing more details. Yeah, plus it is actually having a kind of cropped image, so you won't get a wider view here. But obviously we are not talking about the Pixel 4a here, but if you compare it here, you can see that K50i is actually doing good. Here again, if you switch to rear camera, again you can see that K50i is actually doing good if you compare it with Pixel 4a. Pixel 4a is having a bit of washed out images, plus the color reproduction is actually not that good. Yeah, so I can see that when it comes to taking bouquet shots or portrait shots, both the front and the rear cameras of K50i is actually doing a good job. But let me tell you one thing, if you switch to non-human objects, there you will see a good difference here. You will see that Pixel 4a is doing really good here in terms of overall depth effect, the edge detection, the focus is actually really good. If you use the Pixel 4a, then you will realize that you can take effortless portrait shots using the Pixel 4a camera. But yes, overall K50i is actually doing a good job, not bad. Redmi K50i comes with a dedicated macro lens 2 megapixel, which can be used if your hands are really stable, super steady. You can see that you can go closer to the object. If you compare it with the Pixel 4a, you can see that Pixel 4a cannot get that closer. If you see, you can take close-up shots, and good amount of details are also available. The color reproduction is also good. But personally, I never use this macro lens. You let me know if you have used it on your phones. But yes, it does the job, not bad. When it comes to taking HDR shots, here I can say that the Redmi K50i is actually doing a decent job here. And you can see that the overall image quality is actually looking good. When I took these photos, it was a bit overcast weather, and you can see that it handled the light properly. Although I can say that to some extent, very minor differences there. If you check the details, it is better in the photos from Pixel 4a. But actually, I'm really happy that there is no significant difference here, just a minor better detailing in Pixel 4a. So HDR shots are actually looking good, from the Redmi K50i. So finally, let's talk about the night photography. Here I must say that Pixel 4a, particularly in the price range of 25k, 27k, still the best when it comes to image processing under low light. You can see that the noise reduction is really far better than Redmi K50i. Obviously, Redmi K50i is actually doing better in handling the exposure here. You can see that, and if there is good lighting, it can also capture good amount of details, and overall image quality is not that bad. It is actually doing a decent job. Even the rear camera, let me show that. Here you can see that if there is enough light, it can capture good amount of details, and you can see that there is no significant difference. But yes, when it is actually darker, very low light condition, then Pixel 4a shines here. You can see that the Redmi K50i is actually struggling to capture details. Actually details are not there. Here again you can see that Pixel 4a has done a great job. Yeah, so when it comes to low light photography, Redmi K50i is actually good if you don't compare it with Pixel 4a. In the price range of 22k or 23k, it is actually a decent performer. Okay, so I can say that it is not bad, but it is not the best. If your topmost priority is actually camera, then I think that you should look for other options, particularly Samsung phones. Okay, it is not bad, but you have to compromise a bit. Okay, particularly low light photography. It's not like that it is really bad. Particularly the selfie shooter is good. Yeah, and video recording is also good, not bad. Just the problem that I've found is that the focus issue is there. Yeah, and another thing is that the HDR photos and the close-up shots, they're also decent, but it's not like that they are the best. Okay, so if your topmost priority is camera, then you should go for the other Samsung devices. And yes, I missed one thing. It has the ultra wide sensor, which is also a decent performer. Here are some samples. Here you can see that it is actually good, not bad, quite acceptable performance. Okay, but yes, to be honest, after looking these samples, you must have also realized that it is not the best camera phone under 25,000. Okay, you have other options. Okay, nowadays I found that the Oppo phones are actually really good when it comes to taking photos particularly. Okay, but yes, if your topmost priority is video recording, then still I would say that Samsung, they are better. Okay, according to me. So believe that you have got some idea about the cameras of this device, and if it has helped you, then let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions, do let me know. And if you end up liking my videos, then do hit the subscribe button and also like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. So till the next video guys, cheers.